everybody out there with cervical myelopathy. I'm wearing my MYeloPATHy spine chiller t-shirt today because it was Halloween and I have had a little Halloween of my own. I imagine with any long-term disabling disease, there will be times of anxiety, fear and confusion. But I do think for patients of cervical myelopathy, that there is unnecessary fear, and I think it's created from a lack of information when the person is first diagnosed with cervical myelopathy, and then by the contradictions that are out there. For example, it's a degenerative disease, which means you will only get worse in time, and yet you have an operation and you are then the patient under the impression that you're fixed. So you feel that's quite confusing. Then one of the main symptoms of cervical myelopathy is a spastic gait. But then you're told by neurologists that problems in the cervical area don't affect the legs. And I've spent 5 days in hospital and I've got some really good things to say. Basically that, you know, it's brilliant, the National Health Service, that you have something and you're able to go into a hospital and you are going to be seen. And I appreciate the MRIs, I appreciate the neurosurgeons that have operated 3 times on my neck. They do a fantastic job with very little money, and I am not complaining. What I'm worried about is the training of neurologists and how neurologists deal with patients when they come into A&E or when they see them. Going the A&E route, I felt cross-examined as if I was a terrorist. It's, you know, what's wrong with your legs? Why don't your legs work? Why are you falling? Where have you fallen? Did you go to A&E? Did you tell the doctor? You know, I'm a patient, my legs are not working, I'm frightened, and I'm not a child, but I do need to be treated in a gentle fashion, not feeling like I've got to justify why I'm at A&E and I need to find the answers to why I'm not walking. I don't know why my legs repeatedly buckle at the knee. Mrs. Murphy, have you tried knee supports? I'm not an idiot. Yes, I've got knee supports. I've got a back support. I've got ankle supports. I've got neck supports. I mean, there's hardly any part of my body that's unsupported. So I think that is going to lead to you feeling like you're needy, you're attention seeking, you're neurotic, you know, you shouldn't have gone to A&E, you know, you're using up national health money when there's more needy people out there. You know, I never asked for this. I was born with congenital fusion and stenosis. I don't know why one day my legs drag and the next they're clippity-cloppity, why every time I get in a car I then can't get out of the car and I can't straighten my body, so I am walking with my top body over my bottom body. You know, I think the problem is that if a neurologist doesn't have experience of your symptoms, then they believe they're not happening. And I think no amount of positivity will stop you plummeting and crashing and wanting to disappear off the face of the earth when you're in a situation where you need these people, you're looking towards these professionals for help and support, but actually they're making you feel really bad about yourself. you know, every day begins and ends with pain for me. There's different degrees of it. It's not awful all the time. You know, I've got a lot of pain relief. There's loads of countries where you wouldn't have that pain relief. You wouldn't have the expertise of the surgeons. And I do really appreciate that. But I do think that we need to be given honest information. For example, if you have got cervical myelopathy and you have an anterior cervical dissection and fusion or a laminectomy, you are not necessarily fixed. It could be that your degeneration is more progressive than somebody else. Nobody knows this. The neurologists don't know this. The surgeons don't know this. For example, I had an operation in December 2010. 6 months later, I had all my symptoms back again. I was turned away from the hospital because they said it was impossible. And then I was rushed to A&E and had my second ACDF via A&E. And yes, 11 months later, I had had a second operation. 2 years later, I've had a third operation. I'm now 3 years with symptoms, and they are getting worse. And I have had lots of issues that led me to going to A&E, and it's not cord compression. It's things like I've got a bulging disc. I've lost some height on the right hand side, and that's giving weakness down my right hand side. I've got some muscle tear that's at the end of C6, C7. That's causing issues. And I think it's a mixture of lots of small things. The fact that the medication I'm on exacerbates all the myelopathy symptoms, the dizziness, the confusion. And when you put these things together, a patient needs clarity. They need somebody to you know, sort out a lot more easily than me having to go to A&E. So I'm going off the point, but what I'm trying to say is that I think the mental health of myelopathy patients is going to be as big a disability as their physical decline, because unless the health professionals tell us about adjacent disc disease, tell us that yes, these symptoms could be recurring, they could come back slowly, they could come back over a long period of time, and let's not pretend that everything is tickety-boo when it's not. And when a patient who has had surgery comes in with the same symptoms, they need to be maybe fast-tracked over somebody that doesn't have these, that hasn't got a history of surgery. I don't know how monitoring should be, but I think monitoring does need to happen to anybody who has had cervical surgery, even if it's via questionnaire over the internet or a telephone clinic. Nobody wants to waste the time of neurologists or surgeons or take up a hospital bed. But at the same time, that person is deserving of getting to the bottom of why they're having these symptoms and not being made to feel that, it's all upstairs in their head. When I think a lot of neurologists do know that what the patient is saying is correct. I don't know why they just don't come clean and be honest and say, this is how it is. And I think so many neurologists just have no training in the symptoms of myelopathy. They don't understand myelopathy, and I think that is going to change over time. but I just want everyone to say, to feel that it's just not, it's not strange to have these feelings where, you know, you want to pull the quilt over your head and for it all to disappear, because I have felt like that, seriously felt like that. And that is why I've had memory issues, sleepwalking, doing the weirdest things like waking up in the middle of the night and pouring a jug of water over my head because I thought I was having a shower, you know, feelings of anxiety. And I think that pain, immobility, and having a disease that is so misunderstood is going to play havoc with our mental health. And what do I want? I would like anyone who is diagnosed with myelopathy to be given a pamphlet that gives them information about, you know, what the future could hold for that patient, and also links to the charity, links to support groups, and some care plan for that person, so that they don't feel that, you know, that they're alone. At no stage should someone who's had surgery ever be out of the system. They should have access to neurologists, to surgeons, to MRIs, X-rays, pain management, mental health units. We will all need these things probably over the remainder of our lifetime. And what I want to do is I want to do everything I can to raise awareness, to help the next generation, and I hope that you can help me do that by passing on this blog. Even though I ramble on and it's already 12 minutes, please pass this blog on, please pass my vlogs on, and try doing them yourself, because I would love to look at somebody else's vlog and blog and see what their experience is, particularly anyone who's had multiple surgeries. You know, where do they feel they are now in the system? And I'm going to do my best to raise money for this charity, and that's it really. And anyone who's feeling bad about themselves, please don't think you're strange, you're alone. You know, you're not. It's absolutely natural to feel completely low and wanting everything to stop, but you need to realise it is only a moment in time. It will pass, you will feel better, you will, as time goes on, understand your condition more, because we're all going to be helping each other. And it's completely normal to feel really, really bad about your situation. And I went to see the mental health unit, and just speaking to somebody who didn't interrupt me, didn't contradict me, didn't tell me I was wrong, and just listened, was like a huge weight off my shoulder. Because, you know, I'm fed up with being told I'm using the wrong words. Oh no, that's not possible, Mrs. Murphy. Well, it is possible, because it's happening to me, and I'm an honest, down-to-earth person, and I've got no motive other than to make sure that I'm as healthy as I can be for my family. I don't have any money. I've never had any money, yet I am scraping my pennies together to get things like this t-shirt. And I've written a book, and it's the amount of money that I've spent on printing that book, because I can't look at the computer, and I want to use that book to raise money for myelopathy. And I'm self-helping myself by doing that, because it gives me a reason to get up every day, and it's like having a job, and it keeps my mind focused and my brain working. So you know, I do feel very positive about my life and my situation, but I do know that I am going to go downhill at times and feel negatively about things, and I think there should be lots of support systems for people like myself. and I'm going to go away now, and I'm sorry that it's now nearly 15 minutes. Bye.